I am on today, as you can see, makeupless, earringless, completely haired craziness. I've been up since about, I don't know, the crack of dawn already this morning. My kids are just waking up now. But I'm coming on because I've sat on this for a little while, and the more that I stew on it, the more it just angers me. And a little bit of a censorship warning, if you will. If there's little ears in the room, get them out of the room, pop your headphones in, do whatever you want to do. But this is for big ears only. A few weeks ago now, I saw something that came through that was this new TikTok trend. You gotta love TikTok. Keep your kids off TikTok. And it was originally it was posted by one mom, and she said, what are some things that your parents did through your childhood that you are now doing completely differently? What are you undoing that they did to you? What are you? So certain things came up, and it was, oh, well, my parents never cut the crust off of my peanut butter and jelly, and I always cut the crust off my kids' peanut butter and jelly. Big deal. It's just crust, yada, yada. Those are the things that were coming up. Well, another woman, a mother of 5, she joins in and she says, I am undoing the thought in my children that my parents instilled in me of virginity. So what? Okay. So I see this come through, and it got a huge following. A big stink was raised. And people kept writing post after post and comment after comment about, thank you for doing that. Thank you for unteaching that. Or thank you for not instilling that in them. Here's where the big words come in. Make sure there's no little ears in the room. I was molested as a child. I was raped as a woman. I was taken advantage of in this way. And people telling me that virginity mattered really hurt me and really made me feel like I was less of a person because my virginity was taken in a way I didn't agree with. Now listen, I am sorry. No one deserves to go through that. No one, no matter what your situation, should ever be touched in a physical manner in a way that you do not explicitly accept. That is never okay. I am not condoning that. I am not saying that that is all right for anyone to do or all right for anyone to receive. And please, if that has ever happened to you and you have yet to tell the appropriate people, the authorities that do it now. It's not okay. It is not okay for anyone. That's the disclaimer. That's set aside. Now, this woman goes on to say that she came back to this post because she got hundreds of people that said, thank you for doing this. How are you doing this? Why are you doing this? What are the words that you've said? Come to find out, she comes back and does another post. She has 5 daughters. Let that sink in. 5 daughters that she is raising, telling them that virginity isn't a thing. Not that it doesn't even matter. Virginity is a word that's one of those old words, an old construct word that people used to use years ago that we don't need to use anymore. Okay, so she instead tells them that they need to make good choices. Their choices, they matter. Their choices have consequences. They matter. But even if you didn't choose to lose your virginity in that way, it doesn't matter because virginity is not a thing. Virginity doesn't exist. It's not a thing. We'll go ahead and we'll continue, to prosecute that person if that's the way if you feel we need to. But the virginity aspect of it doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter at all. Virginity is not a word. Make good choices. Like, for reals? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Let's say that you don't want to come about this from a biblical standpoint. We all know I do. But let's say you don't want to come about this from a biblical standpoint. You're raising 5 daughters, anyone who's raising children, boys or girls, this goes for both. To tell them that virginity is not a thing is like saying heroin won't get you high. Yes, it's a thing. It is absolutely real, and it is absolutely tangible. There's a physical element to that. To tell your children that it doesn't matter, it's just an old word, it's an old school, we've outlived that, that's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. Not only is there a physical element to this, right now, medically, according to WebMD, according to the Mayo Clinic, there's over 25 sexually transmitted diseases. And yes, I call them diseases. The new term is a sexually transmitted infection, an STI. to make it sound a little less scary. Yes, there are some that are treatable. Yes, there's medication for some of them, but there are some that will take your life. You will die. There is nothing that will stop that from happening. Tell your children, yes, virginity is a thing. And even if you lose your virginity to your spouse, if they've slept with other people, there are still sexually transmitted diseases that you can get that you have to be aware of that can kill you. Number 2, we're running rampant, not just in this country, but in this world, with this thought process that the more partners you have, the more cultured you are, and the more knowledge you have, and the more pleasure you'll receive from it. That's a bold-faced lie. The statistics are out that those with the most fulfilled physical relationships are those who have had minimal partners and are married. Married. I don't just say in a long-term relationship, then they're married. The more partners you have doesn't mean the more fulfilled you're going to be, the more knowledge you're going to have in this subject. No, what it means is you've been searching for something over and over because you're unfulfilled in the thing you had before. Jumping into bed with just anybody is not fulfilling. It's not going to bring you the euphoria and the peace and the joy and all that stuff that you're looking for. No, what's fulfilling is doing it with that person who actually loves, respects, and cares for you in the long term. So all of this, experiment, explore it. Go ahead, experiment. Go ahead, explore. See what comes out of that. Diseases, babies, skyrocketing abortion rates, unparalleled divorce rates because you didn't find success in your marriage bed. You're going at other places while you still are married to that person. No. Teaching your children that virginity is not a thing is stupid. There's no benefit to that. There's no benefit to that. You're setting them up for the just in case. What I mean by that is, if you tell your child, yes, virginity is absolutely a thing, you can then go and teach them. This is what it's designed for. This is what it was. This is why it's important. So that when you do find that person that you're supposed to be with, you now have an even closer bond because that's an experience you've shared with them that you've never experienced and shared with anybody else. You're able to get better without going into crazy. You're able to get better with that person. Just like anything, when you play on a softball team, you train and you learn and you teach for that team. And now that team can work like this. Well, your husband and wife, they're not a softball team. They're only 2 people. But when they work together, they're now meeting each other's needs as they need them to be met. When you're running around meeting everybody else's needs, trying to get your own fulfilled, you're not working as a team to make yourself better. I hope that makes sense. That's where my mind goes on this. Bringing this into a biblical and a scriptural context, God designs our bodies. God designs our minds. He designed us. And he says that 2 shall become 1. When you get married, 2 shall become 1. There's a scientific element to that. Again, I believe that God created the science that we are. When you say the 2 become 1, the more the husbands and wives are smoochy, feely, okay, they're passing things back and forth to each other that boost each other's immune system, that help each other regulate their moods together. You're building each other up in that physical just as much as in the mental and in the spiritual that you need. You're also talking about marriage. Talk about marriage. If you take sex out of the equation, what is the difference between marriage and dating? I've been dating my boyfriend. I've been dating my girlfriend for 3 years. Great. I've been married to my husband. I've been married to my wife for 3 years. What's the difference? Well, marriage is where that sex is supposed to come in. If you're doing that outside of marriage in the dating realm, why get married? What's the point? What's the point? Yet you have all these girls running around in college, all these boys running around in college and say, oh, ring by spring, we're going to get married. Why? If you're already out doing that, why get married? Why? Because it's supposed to be special. And I'm not just talking about that first night where the virginity gets lost. It's supposed to be special and grow as you do. It is absolutely a thing. God says, keep yourself for your husband, keep yourself for your wife, respect your husband and respect your wife, not just by not physically going and sleeping with anybody else, but he even says that thinking, those idolatrous thoughts, coveting somebody else's spouse, that's basically a form of cheating right then and there. That is wrong. It's a sin. You need to repent of it. If God can say that just thinking about an impure thought about somebody else is a sin, by all means, let's go jump into bed with whoever else we want to before we get married and say it's practice, it's learning, it's education. No, what it is foolishness. This woman, I fully believe, she didn't come out and say this, but I shouldn't say fully believe. There could have been abuse in that woman's life before. So telling her children that virginity is not a thing is a way of safeguarding yourself. It's a way of saying what happened to me. I don't want to force that on you. I don't want to put those words on you. I don't want to let anybody else take that from you. So I'm going to take it from you before they do in a different form. Don't do that. Don't take from your children. Give to your children. Give them the power that says, I don't have to sleep with people that is not my husband or not my wife. I don't have to look around for physical gratification because I know when I find the person whom my soul loves, that's going to be the only physical gratification I ever need. Stop taking from them the things that are special in life by cheapening it and saying, yeah, you need to explore. Yeah, you need to experiment. Yes, you do, with your spouse. You can say I'm old-fashioned. You can say I'm out of touch. You can say whatever you want. But what I can say is I have been married for 13 years to a loving husband who adores me and I adore him. And we aren't running around with anybody else. We are simply trying to put God first in our marriage, and God takes care of everything else. It gets better over time. I honor him. He honors me. And that is what has created the happiness and success in our marriage. If we were constantly comparing each other to other people, we would fail. Absolutely. Bringing it home real time, we would fail. 100%. You will fail every time you compare yourself to someone else in that kind of a situation. Stop doing it. Mothers, fathers, grandparents, aunts, uncles, if you are raising children right now, stop taking away the idea that someone else has power over your body because you need to explore and experiment. And no. Virginity is not real? Are you kidding? Stop being stupid. Stop being selfish. Allow your children to know that there is someone out there waiting for them, special for them. Have them start praying for that person now and live that life instead of the life that says, when am I going to get my first kiss? Well, I'm 14, I'm 15, I'm 16. I haven't had my first kiss yet. I'm a failure. Whoa. What are you setting your children up for? Are you setting them up for success or are you setting them up for failure? Start now. Because if you don't start speaking to them about these things, the world will. What voice do you want to have in your child's head? Yours or that of the world saying, go, do, have fun, explore, experiment. You're a prude if you don't. Raise your children up right and they will not depart from the Lord. That is what the Bible says. That's what I stick to. That's what I'm absolutely going to teach my children every day of their lives. I hope this helps someone give a little freedom to understand that it is okay to strive for these things. It is okay to want these things. But if you've already been through that, if you've already lost it, shall we say, or if you're dating someone or with someone else who has, that's okay too. You can fix it going forward. You can change going forward. It is never, ever too late. If you've already taught your child something that you're thinking now, like, hey, I was speaking out of inexperience there. Let me go back and fix this. Do it now. Do not let another day go by with the wrong thinking. Otherwise, it's just going to end up being more and more and more you have to undo. Love your children. Hug on them today. Love on somebody else today. Be blessed. Make good choices.